Alright, so the first deck for this deck. This is my main 5-color interaction merged with the Jegantha combo deck. So we are running Jegantha as a companion. For those of you who don't know, Jegantha is a 5-mana 5/5 that can tap for Wooburg, but the condition is the mana in the Wooburg can only be used to cast to pay coloured costs, not generic costs. So for example, on this Intruder Alarm, Jegantha can pay for the blue, but it can't use any of its mana to pay for the generic. So, with that in mind, the restriction for Jegantha is that no card in your deck can have the same mana symbol. So there's going to be no double white, double blue, so on and so forth. So with that in mind, let's move Jegantha over here, and we'll start with the first and only monocolored card in this deck, the Intruder Alarm. It's in here for the combo potential. There's several ways we can combo with this, but we'll go over them as we get to the end, so we'll put this to the side. And we'll go through the colour combination. So we start with Simic, Oko, FIFA for Crowns. Solid answer. So, every colour in this deck I try to build where basically there is a value card, a answer card, and a kind of win condition card. So we see here, Oko is our answer card, can deal with any permanent turn, well not permanent turn into an elk. At least one of each. This is oversimplified. For those of you who don't know, it's a new one from the Quandrix Pregon. 5 mana. Exile all creatures, and each player then creates a fractal token with 1/1 counters on it equal to the total power of all the creatures that were exiled this way. Really solid board wipe that can deal with a lot of threats. Quandrix command. I love the commands, so the foiling is going to make this a bit hard to see, but you have two. You have to choose two. Return a creature or planeswalker, counter an artifact or enchantment spell, put 1/1 counters on target creature, or shuffle 3. Target player shuffles up to 3 target cards from the graveyard into the library. You'd be surprised how often you just counter something annoying like a Smothering Tithe, or bounces a commander when it's about to swing at you for lethal, so yeah, it's very good. Bring to Light, I mean, if you're a Niv player, you know this card, no need to go on to it. The front card of this deck, as in the card I always display in the carry case before I know which deck is the deck. This is Growth Spiral, the Mystic Archive. Japanese art, so pretty. Need this in foil. Moving into Rakdos, we have Terminate. Good solid answer. Now, what you'll notice here, and from what you've seen here, a lot of our interaction is single target removal. We want to, as I said before, we're basically playing Jenga. We want to take out the key problematic pieces. We don't want the tower to crumble on us, because the tower crumbling on us is the entire board deciding that we're a problem and they're going to come after us. Oop. 2 cards together here. Colligan's Command, another good all-round answer. Anyone who's in Modern or playing with this card is familiar with it. Rakdos Charm, solid graveyard hate, and a really fun alternate way to win the game if you can score the 1 damage from each creature they control if they go infinite. It's really fun. Valky, God of Lies, and if I flip him over, Tybalt, the Cosmic Imposter. Planeswalker, the 7 mana, +2, exile the card of each library, -3, exile artifact or creature, and 8 minus exile all cards from graveyards. This is in here because we have the Bring to Light synergy, bring it out, and honestly, 7 mana, draw 4. Well, draw 1 for yourself and the top card of everyone's library to cast another point is a really solid answer. Kerador the Doom Scourge. This card is in here because I've been super impressed with it whenever I've played it. Its design is pretty much all around, can we just force everyone else to attack each other? Fun fact with this card, the trigger is on the player and it negates on your next turn, so if you pass the turn and someone finds a way to kill you, maybe with burn damage or like an effect like that, the trigger never leaves, so they have to attack forever. It's really funny if you can pull it off. Azorius Charm. This here is a fun 1 mana, 2 mana card. We choose one, gain lifelink, draw a card, or put attacking or blocking creature on top of the owner's library. Basically, I say this goes in the order of fail-safe, putting in an attacking creature, cycling it to draw a card, or sometimes lifelink can be relevant. Turn to Mist. Probably one of my favourite Blink spells. In the deck, exile target creature, return that creature to the battlefield under control at the beginning of the next end step. Key thing here, End step, so it dodges board wipes. It doesn't specify your creature, so it can be used as a fog effect to bounce any problematic creature out of combat. You can also just get rid of maybe a problematically huge token. Or if in our case, we might just use it to recast and get another Niv reload. Ojutai, the Dragon Speaker. This here is our threat in Azorius. We want to deploy this and leave it to go. Basically, if you've ever played against this on Mana Gorger Hydra, you know that if you can make this into a 5/5 or bigger, it can be very problematic. Obviously, it's not a commander, so people don't have to worry about it too much. But yes, it is a good flying threat. Finally, Soul Herder. Blinking any of our ETBs or just blinking a Niv here is game backbreaking for this deck. Sorry, and finally, and of course we have Dovin's Veto. This is our all-round catch for the deck. And we're moving to Azorius now, so one of our value cards is Raoul the Storm Conduit. And this has early Magecraft. Whenever we cast a copy spell, it does 1 damage to a target opponent or planeswalker, +1 to scry, +2 to scry 2, or -2 to copy an instant or sorcery. Really powerful abilities. As I said before, it's primarily in here to be a 4-mana copy of spell. Lord Drakus, mutate, return target creature card from you, instant sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. This is part of an infinite combo, but if we're not using it for the infinite combo, mutating it onto our, any of our non-human creatures and getting back any of our answer spells is always worth it. Reinterpret, this has been one of my favourite counter spells recently. It is a 4-mana, 2 blue and a red. Counter target spell. You may cast a spell from your hand with lesser mana value, equal to or lesser than the mana value of this. Start again. Reinterpret. 2 red and a blue. Counter target spell. You may cast a spell with an equal or lesser mana value from your hand without paying its mana cost. So this is a good catch-all if we can get it. It counters problematic spells potentially and lets us put into play something that we might want to keep around. Expressive Iteration, Pioneer Band, absolutely fun card. We have a lot of low mana spells to keep things going here. And our win con. Moving on to Golgari here. We have Garrick, the Cursed Huntsman. 0, put 2/1/2/2 black and green wolf creature tokens onto the battlefield. When they die, we put a 1/1 counter on Garrick, a loyalty counter on Garrick. -3, destroy a creature, draw a card, and -6, we get an envelope of creatures we control have +3/+3 in trample. So value, answer, and finisher kind of all in one here. If we're deploying a Garrick, we want to be ahead on the board, or at least, going with it. Treasured Find. This is a card I think needs to see a bit more play. 2 mana, return target card from your graveyard to your hand, exile Treasured Find. 2 mana buyback. It is a sorcery speed 2 mana Eternal Witness. It doesn't have the synergies, obviously, of the Eternal Witness, but yeah, it's a very good card to use. Culling Ritual. Backbreaking against certain decks. My friend who plays Enchantress and my friend who plays Light Paws hates this card and thinks it's the most busted thing they've ever seen. Absolutely amazing value. Often this card is actually a ritual. Ironically, it's called Culling Ritual. What a funny little surprise there. It makes you mana. Putrefy. Destroy an artifact or creature. Very good. Witherbloom Command. Right. So, in Commander with the Witherbloom Command, we have to choose 2. Target player mills freedom, return a land from our graveyard to our hand. Destroy a non-creature, non-land permanent with mana value 2 or less. Target creature gets -3/-1 to the end of turn, or an opponent loses 2 life and we gain 2 life. So, rebuying a fetch land, absolutely amazing. Rebuying your turn 1 fetch land and blowing up your opponent's turn 1 Soul Ring or Mana Crypt, backbreaking. One of the reasons why I love this card. Into our Boros Scholars, we have Lawhole Command. This is kind of our answer/finish and card advantage. I won't go over all the abilities, but this is basically an Anthem and Indestructible and a way for us to draw additional cards. Reconstruct History. This is a 4-mana sorcery that returns up to 1 type artifact, 1 enchantment, 1 instant, 1 sorcery, and 1 planeswalker. So for 4 mana, return 3 cards to your hand. Very underrated. Also exile it, but very solid. Shiny General Furious Roderick. 3 mana, 3/1, hexproof and monocolored. Whenever we cast a multicolored spell, make a 4/4. What more needs to be said about the General? Solar Blaze is our answer card. It is a 4 mana board effect. Each creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. So key thing here, the creatures deal the damage to themselves. So if they have Death Touch, they kill themselves. Key thing to remember. Also, if they have Lifelink, incidentally, they gain the life. Definitely Clarion, a small board wipe and slash lifelink for all of our creatures. It's very solid. Boros Charm. This is basically 2 mana indestructible for our board. Maybe give double strike to our nib if we need to finish off a player or something else. Moving on, we have Vindicate. Destroy target permanent, 3 mana. We have Anguished Unmaking. 3 mana, destroy target, exile target non-land permanent, you lose 3 life. We have Edgar, the Charmed Groom. So this is a 4 mana Vampire Lord that gives +1/+1 to all vampires. And when he dies, we return him transformed as Edgar Markov's Coffin. Look at that art. At the beginning of our upkeep, we make a 1/1 vampire creature token and put a token on the coffin. When it has 3 tokens on the coffin, remove all counters, flip him back to Edgar. This is a pretty fun way of dealing with basically forcing an opponent to have double removal for Edgar. So a board wipe will just flip him back over and then he'll come back and attack. Key thing to remember if you're playing a paper with Edgar, Edgar does not leave the field when he transforms, so if he flips back from the coffin to Edgar, he has been on the battlefield, he's not affected by summoning sickness. Kaya's Guile. This card is so underrated, Commander. So 3 mana. Make everyone sack a creature. Exile all cards from each opponent's graveyard, not even affecting your own. Make a 1/1 flying spirit or gain 4 life. Or you can pay 6 mana and get all these abilities in one. 9 times out of 10, this is an Edict, and it's a 3 mana instant speed. Edict, exile all graveyards. With the prominence of graveyard and Commander, this card is criminally underplayed in my opinion, in certain decks. Despark. 2 mana, exile target permanent with mana value 4 or greater. I mean, answers everything. Absolutely great. Moving on to Gruul, we have Minsk and Boo, Timeless Heroes, new from the Commander set. 4 mana, Gruul Planeswalker, with whenever it enters or at the beginning of my upkeep, create a 1/1 red hamster creature token called Boo, with trample and haste. +1/+3 1/1 counters on target creature with trample or haste. -2, sacrifice a creature. If you do, they deal damage equal to its power to any target. If you sacrifice a hamster, you draw X cards. I just love Minsk and Boo, that's why it's in here. There's probably a better Planeswalker like Xenagos or Arlinn, but I'm going to play these guys because I love these guys in the game. Alright, Clophis, God of Destiny. Clophis is a, let's move this back here. I need to get better at these because I'm kind of doing this at an awkward angle. Clophis, the God of Destiny, indestructible, 3 mana. Beginning of our upkeep, exile a card. If it's a land card, we get red or green. If it's non-land, otherwise we do 2 damage and gain 2 life. Good incremental value, good incidental graveyard hate, hard to deal with permanent. Really solid card. We recommend playing. Artifact Mutation. 2 mana, destroy an artifact and create X 1/1 green sapling tokens. I mean, this is 2 mana artifact hate that gives you incidental value by dropping 1/1 sapling, so always good. I mean, to anyone who says there's never an artifact on the field, I don't know what pod you're playing in, but it ain't a regular Commander game. Struggle, 3 mana. Deal damage to target creature equal to the number of lands you control. Then we have the Aftermath, which is survival. Each player shuffles a graveyard into their library. So we have creature removal into graveyard hate / restocking our library mill hate. Really fun card. Should see more play. Dire Strain Rampage. Destroy target artifact, enchantment, or land. If a land was destroyed this way, its controller may search a library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them onto the battlefield tapped. then shuffle. Otherwise, its controller may search the library for a single basic land card, put into the battlefield tapped. This is here to add, it also has flashback 5 mana. This here is something that I was saying in this. This is a ramp spell. Unless it needs to answer a problematic permanent that is game warping or gonna run away with everything. This is 3 mana, second copy of Harrow. That can also be flashback late game for an answer slash thing. It's really good. Right, moving into our Selesnya cards, we have the Knight of Autumn. When it enters, we either put 2 counters on it, destroy an artifact or enchantment, or gain 4 life. Good all round, blinkable, reusable target. Knight of the Reliquary, 3 mana, tap it, sacrifice a forest or plain, search your library for a land card, any land card you want, put it into the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. Knight of the Reliquary is here to tutor field or world tree if we need it, or tutor other effects that we might want. People who haven't played with this card don't know how good this card is, so always consider, if you have specific lands you always want out. My friend uses it in his Abzan deck to always get the Cabal Coffers and Urborg over 2 turns. Really solid. Reborn Hope. Return target multicolored card from your graveyard to your hand. Don't exile it. So this one is Treasured Find, but it's a little bit more restrictive, but really solid or a good answer. Favor Elder, 3 mana, Bloom Tender basically. It taps, it gets 1/1 for each colour among permanents we control, and it taps to add 1 mana of each colour from permanents we control. So we're new on the field. This is a 3 mana 5/5 that taps for Wooburg and can be used as part of the combo with our Intruder Alarm. Moving into the final colour here, we have Dimir. We have Tyrant Scorn. This card is a solid answer to just bounce something that's going to kill someone or be problematic or combo off or kill a small creature. Soul Manipulation. Counter spell, return a creature from our graveyard to our hand. I mean, we can use one or both. So we can hold up the return a creature, answer anything that might be a problem. Perplex. This is interesting. This is counter target spell unless this controller discards hand or transmute for free. Spoiler alert, we are transmuting for the Intruder Alarm 9 times out of 10, but I will show you other lines that you can do with this card. And finally, Counter Squall. So, counter target non-creature spell its controller loses 2 life. So that's what I said. So what you want to do with this deck is you want to try and set up a situation. So, let's show off what we want here. We want Intruder Alarm on the... So, I'm going to show Perplex again, because Perplex can be used to tutor any one of these cards. So, if we can't get Jegantha, we can grab the Favor Elder. If we have Jegantha, but we don't need to worry about anything else, what I mean by that is if we have Jegantha, but we don't have another, we don't need anything else, we can play the General Furious Roderick. If we need to pick up here, so this is like all of our line options here. Alright, so this is one of the reasons why I'm saying this is not a competitive combo. What we would want to do is use Perplex to tutor what we need. So say we're not going for the Favor Elder. We can tutor for, let's say that we have the Mizzet on the field, we're going to tutor for the Lord Drakis here. So, this is the line. So with this board state, tap, and we need additional mana. Mutate, return this to hand, use it again. Then, so here's the mana we need. So, we need blue, red, black, we need a 1 and a blue, and then we can use the white from Jegantha here. So basically we need a bit of extra mana, and then we cast, we Perplex for the General Furious Roderick. So, with that done, we'll cast the General. This will trigger the intruder alarm and tap in Jegantha. Now, this is what we need. We need in the graveyard a bounce spell. Preferably, I would say Tyrant Scorn, because it's right on top of my deck. So this is in the graveyard. Sorry, not in this graveyard. This is in our hand. My God, I'm messing this combo up. It's been a while since I've done this in paper. So we cast this. This will in turn, with the general, we tap the mana, make us a golem. Because a creature's entered, Jegantha will untap. We bounce these guys back to hand. Now this is in our graveyard. Now we tap this, cast Niv, we get another thing here, we get double activation. We can then Lord Dracus, get back this, make infinite 4/4s. It's clunky and slow, but there are other lines, but this is the main one. So what you want to have, as I said before, is ideally this board state, if possible. Then you can, using your mana, you can tap free and let's perplex. So blue, black, and one of our lands. We can grab the Lord Dracus. We can then use the red from Jegantha and one of our manas here to mutate. And then we get back our perplex. We then perplex for the general. Then we can make infinite creatures. There are damage lines which are better, but I think they're a little too tuned, if I'm being 100% honest with you. One such way is to use one such way is to use when I find it, 'cause my one such other way we can use things is if we have Knight of the Reliquary active and we have the intruder alarm and we can trigger the Field of the Dead, we can use this, get a land drop, make a zombie, untap all our stuff, generate mana this way. So yes, there's not a definitive instant I win the game combo. This is a you have time to answer it combo. But one thing to point out is if we are constantly blinking our Niv, we will get, I mean you saw how many answer cards we had and protection cards, we will turn all these into our hand. So it's clunky and horrible, but like I said, this is a mid-tier, not too tuned deck that's just looking to play good creatures and have fun interacting with the game. Yeah, that's the first deck done.